Welcome to video 3 in this series to help Qigong practitioners at the start of their journey sense the Qi, and ultimately in this series we're working on that paradox of how to move the arms without moving the arms. So if you haven't seen the 2 videos before, the intro and the one on the cone stem effect, then go and have a look at that. Otherwise, if you're here at the right place at the right time, then super. This one we're going to be discussing abdominal breathing and the placement of the tip of the tongue. So these are 2 principles that pretty much follow every Qigong form and system, as well as meditation and alike, all the way through. So it's worth bedding these principles in early. So I'm going to start with the tip of the tongue. The tip of the tongue connects an orbit of 2 major vessels in the meridian system around the body. I'm not going to go really in depth into it, but just to show you how to connect these 2. So the Ren and the Du Mai, they sort of start and finish around here. So the tongue almost seals the circuit, which we want. And so if you swallow, your tongue will naturally move up onto the upper part of the palate, where actually it should reside a lot of the time. Sometimes in stressful situations or modern day living, the tongue actually drops down into the bottom of the palate. So there's a lot of benefits of keeping it up. One, once we connect this loop, you get to generate more Qi flow, and it's great for some meditation techniques and alchemy work too. Secondly, once you start building some Qi flow up in the body, you'll notice that it'll create a little bit more saliva, which is a good thing. What else? It'll also allow you to abdominally breathe better. So it's a sort of win-win for placement. And again, you can use these skills in all the different forms of Qigong and relaxation and meditation too. So now I've said about the swallowing. My preferred way actually to place the tongue there is actually to say the French word le, like you were saying the dog, le chien. If you just say le, you'll find it's the tip, which is slightly different from the swallow, but le, that tip goes right into that top ridge gum behind the top 2 front teeth. So that's my preferred way of just placing the tongue there. So next up is abdominal breathing. With a lot of clients these days in the different things I do as a coach, I find a lot of people are doing a few things wrong with the breathing, or the autonomic systems just sort of maladapted the way you breathe. One, we have short chest breathing, shallow breathing, fast breathing. It doesn't drill deep enough down into the abdomen and get that ebb and flow and expansion of the lower organs. Secondly, we activate a lot of the neck muscles and by what's known as vertical breathing. So rather than horizontal abdomen breathing, where there's a lot of blockness around the nose and sinus issues with a lot of people, or just the breathing can become quite forced and stiff and rigid and fast. So the Chinese like analogies, and I do especially in these situations, because if you try to force breathing, again paradoxically, you end up not getting as much in. You think by doing a large big breath you're getting a lot of oxygen and air in, and actually it doesn't drill down deep enough. So they call it like a fast running stream, sort of where the nostrils can really sense the fast flow of air coming in. That's not what we're after. Their preferred version, I love this, it's very poetic. They say things like, imagine mist, slow mist entering a valley. And so you almost want it to be like an assassin, someone creeping into the nostrils, the air in, without being noticed. So it's very low, very slight, very slow. And that actually drills down deep enough into the abdomen. We get this expansion. So where we're fast, it can be vertical, but what we also want is this slow abdominal breathing, where we get this expansion. We also want to be careful there's not paradoxical breathing, which is when we inhale, some people draw the belly button in, And when they exhale, it goes out. But the way to remember this is when you put oxygen into a system and air, you get expansion. Imagine blowing a balloon up. Expansion. So when we breathe in, we want expansion. And if you've got that the other way round, so when you breathe air in, the abdomen goes in, aka paradoxical breathing, you often can't correct that through standing. The best thing to do, and this can be another video or reach out to me if this is you, but you do it lying down. You put an object on the abdomen and you repattern it lying down. Most people naturally, the autonomic system will default to correct breathing when you're lying down. And so you really close your eyes and feel and sense what it feels like to breathe in and feel the object on your abdomen, a remote control, whatever's in your mobile phone, but people are worried about EMFs, then put it on aeroplane mode. But when you feel that object rising up as you inhale towards the ceiling, you really feel that sense, and then you can take it to half kneeling and then standing and repattern it. And there are other tips and tricks for that as well. Some people present with both maladaptions, vertical breathing and paradoxical. So, a bit to unpick, but once you do unpick that, lots of things will change for the better. Not just for your Qigong practice, but sleeping and parasympathetic and nervous system activity, etc., etc. So I think that'll wrap it for this video. We've got tongue placement and abdominal breathing wants to be chipping away in the background when we're attempting these exercises, which will come next in the following videos. Thank you.